Welcome to Diplo Bloopers, where we uncover the funniest diplomatic slip-ups that remind us even world leaders are only human. From hot mic disasters to identity mix-ups, we've got a lineup of cringe-worthy moments that almost caused international incidents. But it's not. It's about the moments when diplomacy goes hilariously, spectacularly wrong. So buckle up because we're diving head-first into a world of awkward handshakes, unfortunate translations, and enough political faux pas to make a diplomat blush. Stay tuned, learn what not to do in diplomacy, and don't forget to laugh along the way. Our first foray into diplomatic disaster takes us to an international conference where Bolivian President Evo Morales was caught watching adult entertainment. Look.
A los hidrocarburos y mejorar la economía, ¿quién me respondió? Carlos Mesa. Me ha sorprendido este dato.
Screen doesn't always stay on your screen, and so, the man who once held the highest office in Bolivia learned a valuable lesson that day. Always check your browser history, especially when representing your country on the world stage. Next up we travel to Uruguay, where former President Pepe Mujica, a man known for his blunt style, decided to share his candid thoughts about Argentina's then-president, Cristina Fernández de Kirchner. And when I say share, I mean he accidentally broadcast them to the entire nation. Now, I'm not one to shy away from a bit of political gossip, but Mujica's comments were less Watergate and more, why-gate did you say that? Why-gate did you say that? He called her, and I quote, worse than the one-eyed man, referring to her late husband and former president Nestor Kirchner. The fallout was swift and brutal. Diplomatic ties were strained, apologies were issued, though some might argue they were about as sincere as a politician's promise. And Mujica was left to ponder the age-old adage, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it near a live microphone. It's a lesson we can all take to heart, really. Think before you speak, folks, especially when you're holding a device that can amplify your words to a global audience. We've all been there. You're at a party, trying to introduce your new neighbor to your old friend, and your brain decides to take a vacation, leaving you stammering like a malfunctioning robot. But when you're the President of the United States, the stakes are a bit higher than forgetting your neighbor's kid's hamster's name. Enter Joe Biden, a man known for his gaffes and verbal stumbles, who managed to commit a diplomatic faux pas of epic proportions when he accidentally called Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky Putin.
And now I want to hand it over to the President of Ukraine, who has as much courage as he has determination. Ladies and gentlemen, President Putin. President Putin. He's going to beat President Putin. President Zelensky. I'm so focused on beating Putin.
Plate. Global pandemics, economic woes, trying to remember where he put his reading glasses, it's enough to make anyone mix up their world leaders. But confusing the President of Ukraine with the President of Russia? That's like mistaking a friendly golden retriever for a snarling Rottweiler. You just don't do it. The White House, in its infinite wisdom, tried to downplay the incident, claiming it was just a slip of the tongue. But the damage was done. The internet exploded with memes, pundits had a field day, and somewhere, Putin was probably laughing into his borscht. Ah, the handshake. The universal symbol of greeting, agreement, and, in the world of diplomacy, a potential minefield of awkwardness. And no one knows this better than former German Chancellor Angela Merkel, who found herself on the receiving end of a handshake snub from none other than Donald Trump. The year was 2017, the setting was the Oval Office, and the tension was thicker than a bowl of German potato soup.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Send a good picture back to Germany, please. Make sure.
Now, some might say he was distracted, lost in thought about his next tweet, or perhaps contemplating the complexities of a well-done steak. But the internet, that bastion of armchair psychologists, had other theories. Was it a deliberate snub, a power play? Or was it simply a case of Trump missing the memo that, in the world of diplomacy, a handshake isn't just a greeting, it's a symbol of respect, cooperation, and the ability to acknowledge the existence of another human being? Whatever the reason, the image of Merkel's outstretched hand became an instant meme, a perfect encapsulation of the awkwardness and uncertainty that defined the Trump era of diplomacy. They say language is a bridge between cultures, but sometimes that bridge is held together by rusty nails and wishful thinking, especially when it comes to the delicate world of international diplomacy. And no one knows this better than former French President Nicolas Sarkozy, a man who learned the hard way that even whispered words can have explosive consequences. The scene was a G20 summit, a gathering of world leaders where tensions run high and whispers can travel farther than a diplomatic cable. Sarkozy, thinking he was engaged in a private conversation with then US President Barack Obama, decided to share his candid thoughts about Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. "I cannot bear him anymore," Sarkozy reportedly said. "He's a liar." Now, I'm not fluent in French, but I'm pretty sure liar doesn't translate to esteemed colleague or a pillar of international diplomacy. Unfortunately for Sarkozy, his little tete-a-tete wasn't as private as he thought. A nearby microphone, like a gossipy neighbor with an eavesdropping problem, picked up every word, broadcasting his undiplomatic diatribe to the world. The fallout was swift and brutal. Israel was outraged, France went into damage control mode, and Sarkozy was left to rue the day he forgot that in the world of diplomacy, there's no such thing as a private conversation. Toasts, a time-honored tradition, a chance to celebrate, to express goodwill, and, if you're former President Barack Obama, a potential minefield of diplomatic faux pas. Picture this: a state dinner, the Queen of England in attendance, the air thick with expectation and the aroma of roasted pheasant. Obama, ever the charismatic orator, rises to deliver a toast to Her Majesty, a toast meant to cement the special relationship between the United States and the United Kingdom. But as the band strikes up "God Save the Queen," Obama keeps talking, his words overlapping with the anthem, creating a cacophony of diplomatic dissonance.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand with me and raise your glasses as I propose a toast. To Her Majesty, the Queen, to the vitality of the special relationship between our peoples, and, in the words of Shakespeare, to this blessed plot, this earth, this realm, this England, to the Queen.
Now, some might say it was an honest mistake, a simple miscommunication between the president and the orchestra. But to the eagle-eyed observers of diplomatic protocol, it was a gaffe of epic proportions, a breach of etiquette that sent shockwaves through the hallowed halls of Buckingham Palace. But the internet, as is its wont, exploded with a mixture of amusement and outrage. Memes were created, think pieces were written, and Obama was left to ponder the age-old question: when in doubt, should you pause for the anthem or power through with your toast? The answer, dear viewers, should be obvious. Always, always pause for the anthem. Diplomacy is often a delicate dance, a careful choreography of words and gestures meant to foster goodwill and cooperation. But sometimes, even the most well-intentioned gestures can backfire spectacularly, turning a diplomatic overture into a diplomatic disaster. Case in point, Hillary Clinton, then Secretary of State, and her infamous reset button gift to Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov. The year was 2009, and the Obama administration was eager to hit the refresh button on US-Russia relations, which had grown frosty during the Bush years. What better way to symbolize this new era of cooperation than with a literal reset button?
Today, in anticipation of this important meeting and our time here together, I wanted to present you with a little gift which represents what President Obama and Vice President Biden and I have been saying. And that is, we want to reset our relationship. And
let's do it together.
So we will do it together, okay?
Thank you very much.
You are very welcome. We worked hard to get the right Russian word. Do you think we got it?
You get it wrong.
I got it wrong.
It should be перезагрузка. And this says перегрузка, which means overcharged.
Well, we won't let you do that to us, I promise.
The stoic diplomat examined the button with a mixture of amusement and suspicion. "You got it wrong," he replied dryly. Turns out the word on the button, while resembling the Russian word for reset, actually translated to overcharge. Whoops! The room, once buzzing with optimism, fell silent. Clinton, bless her heart, tried to laugh it off, but the damage was done. The reset button became a symbol of diplomatic mishaps, a cautionary tale about the perils of relying on Google Translate for your international gift-giving needs. Diplomacy, as we've established, is a tricky business. It requires grace, poise, and the ability to navigate slippery situations with the agility of a seasoned diplomat. But sometimes, even the most seasoned diplomats can take a tumble, reminding us that beneath the polished veneer of international relations, we're all just humans with a penchant for gravity-induced mishaps. Take, for instance, President Joe Biden's now infamous Air Force One stumble. Picture this: a sunny day, a crisp breeze, and the President of the United States, fresh off a rousing speech about infrastructure or vaccines or something equally presidential, confidently striding up the stairs to Air Force One. But wait, what's this? His foot catches, his balance falters, and down he goes, tumbling down the stairs like a sack of potatoes in a windstorm. The internet naturally went wild. Memes were born, jokes were cracked, and Biden, ever the good sport, laughed it off, proving that even the most powerful man in the world isn't immune to the occasional pratfall. But Biden's stumble is just one in a long line of diplomatic tumbles. Who can forget Silvio Berlusconi, the former Prime Minister of Italy, known for his, shall we say, colorful personal life, taking a tumble on stage during a rally? Or former British Prime Minister Theresa May tripping over a red carpet, proving that even the most carefully laid diplomatic plans can be foiled by a rogue rug? These stumbles, while embarrassing, are a reminder that even in the high-stakes world of diplomacy, we're all just human. We trip, we fall, and sometimes we land face-first on the world stage. Ah, the selfie. The digital self-portrait that's become as ubiquitous as the handshake, the air kiss, and the awkward small talk about the weather. But in the world of diplomacy, where every image is scrutinized and every gesture analyzed, the selfie can be a minefield of potential faux pas. Take, for instance, the infamous selfie seen around the world, snapped at Nelson Mandela's memorial service in 2013. The picture, featuring Barack Obama, David Cameron, and Helle Thorning-Schmidt, the then Prime Minister of Denmark, all smiles and camaraderie, sparked outrage and accusations of disrespect.
To the VIP boxes where President Obama, former President George W. Bush, and other heads of state watched the event, and even themselves. Here you can see President Obama and British Prime Minister Cameron with Danish Prime Minister Thorning-Schmidt posing for a selfie.
They are.
That you can see of the Danish Prime Minister and President Obama having a happy chat. President Obama there holding an event program with Mandela's face on it. Then we see the President continuing to chat here with his fellow head of state, First Lady Michelle Obama, paying pretty close attention to what's going on downstairs. And then finally, this picture. These folks don't look like they're having a very good time. Shush, some intense scrutiny, as you say, but it's not all that uncommon. That's right. We don't actually know if she's upset here.
Impossible to know.
Was this particular snapshot
Of three world leaders snapping a selfie at such a solemn occasion struck a nerve, highlighting the growing disconnect between the formality of traditional diplomacy and the informality of the digital age. And it wasn't just the selfie itself that raised eyebrows. It was the context, the setting, the fact that these were world leaders, not teenagers at a concert, capturing a fleeting moment of fun. The incident served as a stark reminder that in the age of social media, every click, every post, every selfie has the potential to go viral, turning a private moment into a public relations nightmare. So, the next time you're at a funeral, a memorial service, or any other event where a selfie might be considered inappropriate, remember the selfies seen around the world and think twice before you snap. Because in the world of diplomacy, even the most innocent selfie can have unintended consequences. Diplomacy, as we've learned, is a delicate dance. But sometimes that dance takes on a literal interpretation, with world leaders attempting to woo their counterparts with awkward shuffles, robotic gyrations, and moves that would make even your drunk uncle at a wedding cringe. Take, for instance, Theresa May, the former Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, a woman known for her stoicism and her, shall we say, unique dance style. Who can forget her now infamous Maybot moves, a series of stiff-armed claps and awkward sways that seemed more suited to a hostage situation than a diplomatic function? But May wasn't the only world leader to grace the global stage with her questionable dance moves. Donald Trump, a man who seems to possess an almost supernatural ability to make any situation awkward, was also known for his, shall we say, enthusiastic dance style. His signature move? A sort of fist-pumping shuffle that looked like a cross between a toddler trying to swat a fly and a robot attempting to breakdance. And then there's Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister of Canada, a man who, despite his youthful good looks and charming demeanor, seems to possess the rhythm of a malfunctioning Roomba. His attempts at traditional Indian dancing during a trip to India were met with a mixture of amusement and pity, proving that even the most well-intentioned diplomatic gestures can backfire spectacularly. These awkward dance moves, while often cringeworthy, are a reminder that even world leaders are human, prone to the same social awkwardness and lack of rhythm as the rest of us. So the next time you're feeling self-conscious about your own dance moves, just remember that somewhere, a world leader is probably doing something far worse. And that's a wrap on this episode of We Hope You Had a Laugh, and learned a thing or two about what to do in diplomacy. From accidental adult content viewings to ill-timed selfies, these diplomatic mishaps remind us that even world leaders are human, prone to the same blunders and gaffes as the rest of us. Which moment was your favorite? Was it Evo Morales' unfortunate browsing history, Pepe Mujica's hot mic blunder, or Joe Biden's inability to conquer a flight of stairs? Let us know in the comments below. If you love this, hit that button for more global gaffes, and share this video with fellow international relations enthusiasts. And hey, stay tuned for the next episode of See You Next Time.